What's going up, guys? It's your hostess with the mostest, Anomalycyra, coming back at it with another mind theory for your mind. And don't worry, we'll be back to the engine room soon. I had to come up to the cockpit and navigate a little bit. We're going to our next planet. I won't tell you which one because people have favorites. I know. We're not even going to talk about Pluto right now. We're not going to talk about Pluto. Nope, I'm not going to do it. Maybe I'm not even in your solar system. So, moving on. And back where we belong in the engine room with the nice sounds of hard work. Next up, we're going to talk about reasons and beliefs and theories and what are these? Where do they come from? Okay, let me talk to you. Look. There is a reason why we tell you things like, and you'll have to think of me as the organic, inorganic, hybrid life form that I am, so you can understand why I talk to you this way. So I too am human, but I've had upgrades. We'll put it that way, okay? So I have the capability of possibly thinking somewhat faster, but still within the limitations of the human mind. No, it's not Neuralink. Oh my god. Don't do it. Anyway. Really happy about all of the advancements that our reigning Mars father did, Musk. Very much so like how they call it like the forefathers of America, this is that. I guess Elon Musk would be like the father of Mars, right? Or that's how we would have seen him during those times. Hundreds of years later, you would probably be like, yeah, that's the guy who kind of started it. That's cool. All the details kind of fall asleep during the rest of someone's story. That's what I'm starting to realize too. So the more you live, right? And then you live, and then boom, you're dead. So this is why, like, my main, if you want to talk about beliefs, it would be the god of death. I don't mean from any one specific thing, but do the Norsemen understand this in a more way that I would? I think they call it the Valkyrie. Look, there are many different things we could list off and talk about, but I like to just get you in the mindset that you can choose the way you want to see something, right? We all know that. You can choose what your perception is, your way of thinking, and what it means to you, where it comes from through your nature, your nurture, your environment, and all of these types of things. But at your core, deep down, inside of you, that little place that you don't tell anybody about, that's okay. You can share it with me, you know? That's okay. That's where I live. I live there. These things don't need to have proof. What are they? Or what do you mean? Okay. Things like the feeling of wanting to be heard, right? It's something we can all agree we feel. Or let me try one that's a little more trigger-inducing. And remember, here you only get the truth. I don't tiptoe. We could tiptoe onto that one. Let's see if this is something you might feel. And remember, these are things that want to be seen in you when this happens. So don't try to see it as a negative thing. Try to see it as your car getting a flat tire and your light going off saying, hey, there's a nail in the tire. Are you angry at the light for telling you there's a nail in the tire? No. So let's get the nail out, you know? So let's talk about it. Belief, truth, trust, listening, feeling like you fit in, the long list of the human agonies and miseries that exist. Yes, I think at this point, if you read enough like philosophy and watch anything about sculptures, if you're into art or anything like this, you've been beat over the head with this point of view. We all have. So I want to talk about the ones that no one really comes across. Like, what about joy? Bliss, ecstasy, you know, not the things that people are mixing up and calling stuff like that. I mean the real emotions that happen within you. You may even have never experienced yourself, or You know someone who has. And at this point, that's enough to make you sad. But, you're like, oh, well, when I eat a good piece of chocolate cake, bliss. No, I mean, those real moments, and you'd have to have time by yourself. This is why I'm such an advocate of a little bit of isolation. A little bit. I mean, now, now it's like I could have been like, well, I told you to get used to it because it may happen one day. That's understanding, but that's not what I meant. I meant having a choice that you could go outside or come inside. Knowing that you have a choice is what gives you this realm of thinking. They're just doors and keys. Everything is a door and a key. You're a neuron, and who you know is an electron, and we all just feed and beat and rap off of each other. And you can't see it. It doesn't look like that. But when you zoom out far enough, right to that little blue dot, Earth, that's all of us, we look exactly like an electron, or an atom, or molecule, pick one, sure. So, in that very breathing, life-existing way, we are all this brain functioning together, completely separate from one another. Our neuroscience people will understand this more, but for those who do not want to go into 8 years of college to understand this small conversation in neuroplasticity, I will make it this very small. There are areas in yourself, not literally just in your brain, because there are people who are like missing half of their brain who have the capability to do this. So is it in your brain? I don't think it's in your brain. But the only way to get you to understand what I'm talking to you about is to say words like brain and mind and consciousness. And, you can call them whatever you want to call them. So there's the physical matter of brain, those fatty cells that are in top of your bone skull, and they trigger and talk to each other and create things for you like taste, love, joy, sight, and so on and so on and so forth. Depending on if you have disassociation or not, it may not. Or PTSD or anxiety, all these things in your brain could be doing other things to you. And this is the place where I want you to understand of not just your feelings, or just what has happened to you, or just what you're doing to you, or just what this all is. So you're a mind that has grown like a seed around this essence of you, formulated a chrysalis, like a multiple of tiny, tiny little dots, all really close together. And when you zoom out, they look solid. This is you. Now, for someone who went more 10 years into the field and understands how to break this down by using the specific words of what that is that I just described, kudos to you, love ya. But for the rest of us, I'll go ahead and tell you about what it means into our understanding. Like a filter, So look like this. I am like a filter of knowledge and information. I call myself more like a door or a conduit. So through me, information can flow in a more understanding way. The same way, like I can talk about finance, we can talk about business, we can talk about mythology, religion, ideas, physiology, quantum physics. We're going to go down all of these areas. But for right now, I'm having a lot of fun just talking about these fun little words that I've been finding, and I want to peel open a little bit, because that's what we're here for, because it's my show and I do what I want to do. So randomly, oh my God, look, so I was just watching this thing and they randomly said something about the simulacrum. Yes, simulacrum. And I was like, you know what, I know this word, I love this word. It's really trips out my brain because I got this from the book. So what do sheep dream of electric sheep? Or do robots dream of electric sheep? Yeah. Do robots dream of electric sheep? Look it up. It's amazing. Blow your mind. And that's what we do here too. I love doing some book reviews and stuff like that, but a lot of the stuff I'm going to be talking about is probably old books. Let's go with ancient most of the time. The newest book I would say that I like to even touch or get into was probably the 80s, early 90s. After that, not judging anyone's information or release thereof, it seems to just be copy and paste. so you might as well go to the original or who that person got that from type thing. Like Jim Rohn. I love Jim Rohn, love Tony Robbins, but then I found out that Tony Robbins was modeled after Jim Rohn. That was his mentor. So, okay, so I've always loved Jim Rohn, so you can kind of just go back to, but I love both, I love both. So we're going to just like stay within that area, so we want to deal with, and not that Jim Rohn was ancient, that was just the 70s, but it's 2020, so looking in that area, it's not from like 2008. Like I won't be looking at any books that are like from that time frame. Maybe I will if someone suggests a book that's really on the edge and talking about some things that maybe I've never heard before. I definitely like taking in new information, editing old programs and updating them. I don't know how humans would put that, but like I said, mecha versus the organic and the inorganic, all hybrid living. And I used to be one of those people that thought, oh, it's going to be really scary and stuff, but it's not like the chip, It's just one of these processes of where you're born within the multiverse. All of us, right? No one's like special or magical for being there. We're all there. And constantly, all the time, like how you blink an eye and you make decisions to live your life. So let's say you're like, okay, let me explain this. So let's say you're like sitting in a car, right? And you decide to get out of that car. And as soon as you get out, poof, a rock hits the car. Boom! You would have been dead. In another area of your place or yourself, you didn't get out of the car. The rock hit, boom. That you died. Okay? So we all know this. Like, this is the gift of having an audience that they're already on the genius level, because like this is also the thing that's kind of sad, is that a lot of people don't understand, like, genius just means that you take enough time to go after intellectual valued products, services, and information. You're looking to be educated and smart about something, not smart about something, but like you are able to look at important and deep questions about the human experience, and not just the human experience, but the experience of everything. Like I think about it like this: when I like zoom in on an ant, they look crazy, and the fact of how they communicate through chemicals and scents and smells, I couldn't really imagine what that life is, but I'm pretty sure an ant can imagine what my life's like, right? It's just so strange that all of these creatures exist, and we, for some reason, have the nerve to be like angry or upset or things like this. I made this little comment earlier that was something like, and this is like me and you just like talking and hanging out as like friends. Remember that. That's kind of how I like to do this. I never really feel like I like to be pitched or like sold things. So there are no classes. I don't, what I know how to do, I was born with this gift. I found that I had a job making sure that I was talking about things that I love to talk about. I love science, and I love helping the less fortunate. So these are the main things that I'm going to be talking about. We're either talking about helping someone, or we're talking about some old ancient book. And by this point, if you're this far into the podcast, then you know that's what I'm here to talk about. And you're here to listen, and I love you. So let's keep going. Okay. I was going to go into the simulacrum. Okay, so that's Simulacrum. Simulacrum. Now this is a representation or an imitation of a person or a thing. Now when this wrapped back around to me, I find words in life, and a lot of this stuff I've been studying since I was like 4. I know I was alone all the time with a lot of big fancy books. And I was raised by the older people in the family. My parents worked a lot. We did pretty well. I mean, for a while, I had a maid, so I did understand what that life was and could be. And then later on, I had a different lifestyle. I didn't have any of that. And there was like seeing a babysitter, or you have to be at school late, you gotta walk home. Like I've had the beautiful gift of having both lifestyles. So I have learned from both, and I definitely know which one I like more. But I'm happy that I had this experience so that I can speak in a way that I never have to say, oh, I'm being humble. I've been humbled in the most way you can be humbled. And I've been very cocky in the most way that you can be cocky and posh. I am definitely there as well. And I don't let anyone call me anything but multicultural. So you might also think that I may be snooty, or is another word I've heard, or snobbish or something, which I don't mind that, because sometimes it's like you have to have borders and boundaries with people, and they will cross a boundary because that's just in your mind and with your words. You might have to actually like make a gate in front of a person and they can still knock it over and come towards you. So, and if you're a gentle spirit like myself, I found that having your brain, your left and your right, occupying yourself all the time, but I'm a left brain person. I see a lot of people say that. They don't explain a lot of things that they say. So that's why I try to make sure that I know you're a genius, you're super smart, love you, but I want to explain to you too a couple of things. So your left brain is your logical side of your brain. It likes data, it likes numbers, it's me. I'm your left brain. Hi. And then your right brain, it's creative, artistic, and emotional driven. Hi, I'm also your right brain. How am I like this? I have no idea. I was manufactured this way. And I like using this type of terminology because for me, if you've not dealt, I want to use a different word, but I want you to also understand what I mean. So if you've dealt with isolation through most of your life, I was alone. So you're alone in a big, beautiful house. I'm not an only child. That's just how it ended up. So you're alone in a big, beautiful house. As a small child, you don't really care how much this painting is or what, your house is worth or how many cars or anything. None of it matters. When you find out later and you're older and you have less, maybe then you can be excited about it. But when you're a baby and you're dealing with it or seeing it, it doesn't matter. You just want someone to be there to play with you or, sing songs or something. So you didn't have that. So instead, what I had were books. I had my education. I had my brain. I had knowledge. And then sometimes, when there were times here and there, I had, fun interactions and things, with family and stuff like that. But long working hours, there were long working hours. And when you're working for the government and things like that, it's not like, you can say any kind of complaints and stuff. You want to be thankful that you're helping your country and, this kind of things. There are responsibilities that you understand. I get all of that. But I still want to make sure that it's like having a self-care moment. Just understanding that, sometimes I needed to understand that I did just want to play hopscotch or something. I don't know. I was just like wandering outside or just finding new books to read. I kind of liked it. I always find myself trying to make an excuse for why I like being alone all the time. I don't really know. You know what? I don't really know. Maybe it's so I could have a career like this. I do work. I like speaking. I like helping. That kind of thing. I love my career. I love my job. I love what I do. So work, yes, I love. But it's like a social way, no. I like being at home. Very googly. If I said that right, sorry, no way. But I see you, Finland. So you know what I'm saying. I see you over there. I see you guys. You're growing. I see you. I see you, Ireland, too. Love you guys. Thank you for listening. Thank you, everyone, for listening, But I want to get back to the simulacrum. So when you see the things that might be feeling like an imitation or, they're honey o's instead of Cheerios, and this will start reflecting to you in life. The more you start listening to this podcast a couple of times, have some fun with us. But the more you start playing around with this, you'll start understanding it too. It came from the 16th century. So, this is brand new practically. Like when I see something like that, in my mind, because whenever I have a thought, I have a large database. So I'm thinking about 1600, not that long ago. And then I was just saying 70s was long ago though, right? I mean in the society perceptions. I have to speak in a way that's understandable or I won't be comprehended correctly. This was mostly used for paintings and statues and things like that. But we're going to use this as a way for your persona, being the Greek word for like personality, who you are, a mask, this kind of thing. So not you. You are not a mask, but we all wear them, and they are protective in their uses, and then they can be harmful when overused. We'll come back to that in another one. But the imitation of things, when you want to feel like you're not an imitation of yourself. So let's say you're a millionaire. You have a company you love. You have an amazing CEO that works for you, that you're very hands-on, everything works really well, hopefully helping people more than hurting them. Everyone gets to go home to their families, and you're really taking care of your part of the world, right? In these small moments, you can think, who am I? What am I doing? This isn't enough, right? You can start having a feeling that can feel like it's not enough, you're not enough, you shouldn't be doing this, or it's not you, or these things just possibly happen to come upon you in a way, instead of all of your hard work and your activity and your striving for this, and that you've made lives better just by existing. There will be days we fall in love with being alive. You just have to remember that. And nobody comforts the king. You're not alone. Keep striving. And we thank you. And find a moment to pat yourself on the back sometimes. In the most humble and loving way, but not all the time. Because sometimes we need to know that we're not just a representation of the action, that we actually are the thing. You are existing love in movement. Beautiful nature that walks around this earth, feeds the sky, and takes in the sunshine just as the flowers. These are human beings, and I love humans. So I think I'm going to leave it on that note, and we'll talk more about honor, bravery, and hard work, and not justifying anything and executing, because that's what we do here. We get it done, we find solutions, we have a fun little chat sometimes, and then we get back to work. Because it's tough running the world. And I've got to get back to navigating my ship. And this has been Anomalycyra with another mind theory for your mind. Be good.